name is Dayo Oladiji, and this is Rise and Thrive with Dayo. It's a podcast dedicated to helping people discover purpose. Very, very important, discovering your purpose, because if the foundation is good, then the future will be good. So it focuses at young individuals, talking about discovering your purpose and embracing your purpose. Habits, just give us some of the financial habits you feel that has helped you personally and can help people that, okay, develop these habits with your finances, stay consistent with it, and see yourself growing within this period of time. What I say?
Be frugal. Be frugal. A lot of people that have built wealth, now not everybody, but a lot of people that have built wealth are frugal. Frugal simply says, look, don't be doing yum. Don't spend money in a ridiculous way, right? Just keep things on the low. When people say live within your means, or most importantly, live below your means, it's very important. This habit alone can change a lot of things. Somebody can just tap in and say, Alpha, let's go out, and then you just go out, before you know, boom, boom, out of your body, right? I'm not saying you should not enjoy your life. You know you have a budget for your wants. That's part. If it's exhausted, I can't go. Saying no is another major point. It's another major habit that you should learn. Because if you're not careful, people will put you in trouble. They will make you do what you should not be doing with your money. They'll make you do it. So you should be frugal, right? Need to cut down on, ridiculous expenses that you don't really need, particularly at the stage of building. Remember, it's a habit. You see, people you're trying to impress, they don't really care. When problem comes, they're only you. So keep it on low. Nothing says, I earn 4 million naira annually, or whatever it is, 5 million, 10 million naira annually, I earn that. If that's what you earn, you should be able to live comfortably well below that and be able to keep some. Another thing is, when people say save, we're not just saying it because we just like to say it. It's a habit that you must imbibe. And why I say habit is, it's not until you start to make so much money before you can save. It even becomes harder over when you start making plenty of money if you don't started it at a very, very, very low income level. You must save. And when the concept struck me so much, or when it sank in my head a lot, was when my boss said something. He said, if you know that in your office, let's use a corporate setting, in your office, if they announce that they're going to reduce your salary by 10%, not because of a punishment or something, maybe because of company condition or something, will you immediately resign because of that? That's one question you should ask yourself. If you know you will not resign, if you know that 10%, I can still, if you know that that's the case, it simply means that 10%, you can actually keep it. That's the truth. You can keep it. It's just that you don't know it's important enough to keep it. If you can survive on 100%, best believe you can survive on 90%. You really can. Saving is important. Being frugal and living below your means is very important. Another habit you must have, right, as a person that wants to build wealth and move into that space of starting to grow, is managing debts.
I want to come to life.
I was saying something earlier that, for salary earners, it's more difficult because you have a fixed timeline for when money is coming in. So you can quickly spend and maybe even overspend, and maybe it's coming. You just, but see, your greatest wealth building tool is your income. I learned this from Dave Ramsey. It's your income. That's the most important factor in your wealth building. If that income already, before it even comes, has already been spent, that you have to use it to, pay debt, it becomes a problem. You need to free your income, free it up. What are these debts that you're taking on? What are they about? What are you borrowing money for? Now, I understand that life can come at you, particularly at the beginning when you've not started to build your emergency fund, you've not done those things. Life can come at you, things can come up. I get that. But try to make sure that if you're even going to take on debt, particularly non-productive debt. When I say non-productive, I mean debts that cannot come back and bring you any income. There are debts that can bring you income. This one cannot bring, this is the most common one. It can't bring you, at this level of financial knowledge, it can't bring you any income. Reduce it. Because if you don't reduce it, it will eat up the income that you should have used to start building wealth. Reduce your debt. Manage the kind of debt you fall yourself into. How practically can you manage debt? How can you reduce going into debt? You must have a reservoir. When I was talking about saving earlier, it starts from there. Someone was talking to me in the office today, and then the person was talking about how they want to invest and everything. And then she was consulting, and I was telling her that, yes, investing is important, but the first thing you must do, if you want to even start this journey, once you know what you should be doing, you know the basic concept, living frugal, you know all that, you need to first build an emergency fund. That's the first thing. Because if you don't, when things come up, you have to take your investing and then, because this is the step, you earn, you save, and then you invest. It's in that arrangement. If you don't do it like that, that investment, it won't be there for long. An investment should be kept for long. Some of the habits I've mentioned, be frugal. That's key. You have to be frugal. Live below your means. Manage debt. Save. You have to save. These things are key. I'll add one more to this particular list. And I think that list, that part of it is get knowledge. It's key. Because if you know, you see, there are things that you know that propel you to do certain things. It's like when I trade in the markets, right? Because I understand risk, I can't do some things anymore. It's like when you drive too. If you've been driving for many years and your eyes have seen on the road, there's certain kind of risk you can't take anymore.
While driving.
It's because you know. So I think in finance too, it also helps. In as much as you're trying to save, invest, be frugal, all these things, you must try and learn something new about money every time. It changes your vocabulary. You have the money language embedded in you. So when something comes up, because you know, you read something, you remember something, some things, I can't do this now. That no is easier to say. But the issue is you don't know. And if you don't know, what you don't know cannot help you. Because you just don't know it. So I think getting knowledge about finance can help. And it's not about sitting down and reading voluminous books, because not everybody can do that. When I got into the studio, I saw a massive book and I was like, hey, somebody read all of this. Maybe not, that may scare you. But in a very simple way, you can correct your social media feed to give you the kind of information that you're looking for. It's not about, it's all skits. When you scroll your Instagram from beginning, 30 minutes straight is skits. There's nothing that adds specific value to you. Yeah, you laugh, but nothing specific adds value to you. Then it starts from there. If you just sit down and search for handles that give the kind of information that contributes to your financial literacy, and you just follow a few of them. Yeah, you laugh some, you learn some. You laugh some, you learn some. These things can form a part of your, psychology, your daily life, and form the habits that you need to start to transition from surviving to, being on the path of building wealth.
Amazing. This is going to be very dicey, this particular question now, because it's very important. I see it happening practically. Now, let's go practical. Now, starting from the scratch is what we're doing, and I love the points you're giving us. I feel everybody got that. You have to be very frugal. You must live below your means. Don't increase your spending because your income increases. One of the biggest mistakes people make when you go from earning this to earning this, you feel that there's more money now. I've been earning this because I learned to know the hard way that in life, the more income you get, you are going to begin to realize that there were some expenses that you ignored because you didn't have the money. So when more money comes, your mind will now open that, let me even now think of the things I was not buying before. When you were earning, let's say for example, when you were earning 200,000, you will never pass a shop and look at a shirt that's above 5,000 naira. Because your brain is wired to know that it's not my money. But when you start earning 500, you say, that's when you now. So it will get to a point where you take 500,000, right? You arrange it. You were living fine with 200,000. Now 200,000 came and it has finished, right? I am saying that I have not bought everything. It's because you increased your spending once your income. So a lot of things you said. Now, looking at when you're starting from the scratch, how do you manage? Because I want to talk about this. People say that when you're building a business or you're building your finance, you're building your life, you would be, will I call it selfish or greedy? That a degree of selfishness must be required. There must be time where you will just have to focus on yourself. Now, how do you manage your responsibilities? We are Africans, right? You are a young man, you're at marriageable age, you start seeing a lady, right? You're building your finance. She has needs. Yeah, even our ladies are saying that, the era of, in quotes, that is there for you. Your parents are there, which I believe you must take care of them.
Absolutely.
If you now come from a family where, the wealth has not been built, because I believe that, when people they have a good startup in life, it's also an advantage. If your parents have left enough wealth for you, you're starting, you're not starting from the scratch
Yeah.
right now. But if you're starting from the scratch, how do you manage taking care of those responsibilities that are very key? You are a Christian, people will come. You've written your budget. Someone will say, please, my son is in the hospital. How do you manage that thing and still you're able to transition into, but these are real life issues.
We're in Africa. It's important.
People complain a lot that, look, this money is not enough. I will give my daddy, I will give this, I will do this. I have to know, there's a wedding in my family. I will not. How do you manage it? How do you work?
I greet you as a responsible African man. But let me ask you this question. Let's assume you really only had 200,000. That's all you really had. And you have spent it on necessities. And all that is really left with you is 30,000. And for your monthly feeding and transportation, that 30,000 cannot be enough. And somebody in church walks up to you and says, my son is in the hospital. Can you do anything about that? You want to. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a terrible person. You want to, but you can't. Because you don't have the money. Do you understand what I'm saying? You don't have it. Now, you've got to think the same way too when you have put money aside for your future. Because if you are not careful, you are going to make your future self hungry for something that you did not have money to spend on. You have to pay attention to that. So if I have my budget and I have put money aside, I've locked it up in my saving and my investment, not emergency fund, that's there. Everything that's left from my wants, my needs, and all of those things, if needs come up from family, from, there's some that are emergencies. And I understand if you have to, go out of your way for emergencies, but you must know the difference between emergencies and urgencies. There's difference. It's not that everything that comes, because they called you, we must do it now. No, there are some that you can do. There are some that are really important. There are some that we can still, still plan for it. So you must know that. What you have kept aside, you have kept it aside. It's not for you anymore. It belongs to you 10 years later. What you have left, your needs, your wants, and you can reduce the money you budgeted for going out with your friends and give it to
somebody.
Yeah. And if it's not urgent, if it's not an emergency, or it's not something that must happen now, you can plan for it. I understand. We'll get it done. But at this moment, too, I don't have it yet. By this time, I will do. You can do that. But if you have in mind that, look, all the money is for everything, that's when you will mix it up together. So I think, in as much as you have your responsibilities, try and figure it out. Look, if I'm saving 10% of my salary, that's what I'm keeping for my future self. Everything, emergency, need, family, friends, somebody's in the hospital, somebody needs something, I want to buy one shoe, falls within the 90%. If it has finished, it has finished. I made one mistake. A long time ago, I didn't have money. My mechanic called me. That day, he called me and said that he needed some money, that his family, they had an issue with their rent, and then they had to go out, and then he was on that we're going to chase him and his kids away. You will not believe that I borrowed 100,000 from my friend to borrow my mechanic. Although at that time, I had grown to a point where I knew that any money I'm borrowing somebody, and I've kept that principle for a long time. If I borrow you money, I gave you. If you return it, fine. But I'm not supposed to borrow you any money that I cannot let go of. So then I gave him that money, right? I felt like, if it doesn't come back, it's fine. But later on, when I was paying the money back, I thought about, wait, I didn't have the money. I did not have it. I get the story was very emotional. It was very touching. And I'm a kind person. But I did not have it. Does it make sense to go and borrow money to borrow somebody? No. And that's the same principle I'm applying here too. In as much as, we want to be nice, we want to help people, you want to do things. If you don't have it, you don't have it. And whatever you lock away is assumed that you don't have it. You must make sure that it is kept aside. You have to keep it aside, or else, plus the one you kept, plus one you have,
you're going to take
and how long? Where is the boundary? That's what you need to ask yourself.